to the track, the wall, makes the leap, and makes the catch! Amazing catch by Junior! He got it! A perfect game! 13 strikeouts. And Bonds hits right high! It's a game! It is out of here! 7:56! What a special moment for Barry Bonds. Swinging a long drive, deep to right, going, goodbye. He has done it. He has changed the game of the night with one swing of his bat.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Champions Adjust podcast. This is episode 39 of the podcast. I am Aaron Machbitz. Right next to me is Coach David Bodzin. We are the co-hosts of the Champions Adjust podcast. And this episode is actually sponsored by Champions Adjust.
Sponsored by Champions Adjust. Self high five. And high five each other.
Patty cake. But yeah, because Champions Adjust is a brand, a business. We have a clothing line, this podcast, and our mindset program, which includes a bunch of stuff. Coach Bodzin and I are working on that pretty heavily in the pitching domain, just in all player domains. So if you need any sort of that help, please feel free to reach out. And everything is located at our website at champsadjust.com. But that's enough promotion. Let's get to the good stuff. This is one of my favorite episodes that we do, Coach Bodzin, because most of the time we don't have time to prep. We don't have time to really think about it. We're just sort of going off of our initial knowledge, our postseason, our knowledge from last season, and just what we think about. We're doing some predictions for the 2023 MLB season. We sporadically cover MLB on this podcast. We're mostly about youth baseball and mindset and mental health and development and creating a change in the youth environment because we're just in the midst of it, coaching our own teams. But we do like to talk baseball. We love to watch baseball. And so we're going to do some MLB predictions today, sort of just off the rip, off the dome. We just spoke about it like for about 4 seconds before we hit record. Yeah. So you're getting our absolute raw-boned initial thoughts.
Zero preparation in this, so very could possibly be wrong, but this is kind of who we see as fit and some reasons behind it.
So without further ado, Coach Bodzin, would you like to get going? What do you want to start with?
Let's start low. Let's always start with the let's go Rookie of the Year, then Manager of the Year, Cy Young, and then MVP.
All right. So who do you got
for Rookie of the Year? Mm-hmm. AL or NL?
Let's do AL. Let's do all AL, and then we'll go to all NL.
I'm going to go with the number one prospect in Major League Baseball, Gunnar Henderson. I think that my second choice would be Anthony Volpe. Anthony Volpe is a really cool story, by the way. Grew up in the Bronx. His father grew up in the Bronx. His grandfather grew up in the Bronx. He grew up idolizing Derek Jeter, and at 21 years old was the opening day shortstop for the New York Yankees. And on opening day, he got he walked in his first at bat and stole his first base in his first at bat. So that was tremendous on his part. But Gunnar Henderson, 5'2" athlete, a lot of swings and misses, but he's going to get a ton of playing time, probably towards the top of the lineup because the Orioles are rebuilding. So Anthony Volpe is probably going to be, when he's starting, he's going to be kind of tucked into the bottom. But I think Gunnar's going to get a lot of opportunity. He's a defensive master, and I think that he's going to win the American League Rookie of the Year. What do you think?
Yeah, I was either thinking him or his teammate, Grayson Rodriguez, because I think
starting tonight.
I think the Orioles are going to be really good this year.
They're going to be really good in terms of young talent. They're not going to win a lot, but they're going to have a lot of really good young talent.
I mean, I think they won 81 games last year.
That was an anomaly.
Which was a 31 game improvement from the season before.
Absolute anomaly. They traded their best player away and then kept winning. And I don't think anybody really wanted to do that. They were trying to basically just tank at that point and get a better draft pick and get but that didn't happen. But no, go ahead. Sorry.
But I wouldn't be surprised if they win 85 games this year. And maybe squeak into the playoffs potentially. Because they do have a bunch of studs.
They do.
But yes, they do. They don't have a ton of experience. They're very young. Baseball is a very long game, a long season. So 162 games is a lot. There's a lot of ups and downs. How can you weather those sort of storms? How can you recover quickly? How can you gel together as a team? I think they have a really good manager. And Brandon Hyde, I think his name is, should have won Manager of the Year last year, but some other guy won it, which we won't talk about.
He's a University of Arizona alum. I dig it.
But if he ends up leading his team to 90 wins this year, I think he secures that Manager of the Year spot.
Once Terry Francona retires, I'm going to try to get him on our podcast with the Arizona alumni feed on that.
Great. We'll have him sit right here in the middle.
Your pick, Grayson Rodriguez, is actually making his debut tonight against the Rangers. It is currently April 5th. This will come out probably
on Saturday,
which is the 9th.
So if you're listening to it right now, let us know how our boy did.
Yes.
And if you feel like he might be a candidate for NL or AL, Rookie of the Year.
Sure.
So now you got AL Manager.
AL Manager, I'm going to go with dark horse Bruce Bochy. I think that now that the Rangers have spent a ton of money on rebuilding, they also have a lot of talent in the system. Pitching wise, they also have Jacob deGrom and Eovaldi. So what I noticed in a couple of Rangers games I've watched this season so far is a lot more head down, run through a wall action. Bruce Bochy has 3 world championships under his belt with the Giants, and all 3 of those teams were wild card teams. They were teams that were not looked at as the favorites to win that year, and Bruce Bochy knows how to coach the game. And I think now that he's back, I strongly believe that what he's going to be able to do in Dallas this year is going to lift him up to Manager of the Year.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you. I said if the Orioles win 90 games or maybe even 85 games, then Brandon Hyde deserves that award because he should have been even more heavily considered last year for it. But yeah, I like Bruce Bochy here. I like Bruce Bochy for the Texas Rangers.
Yes.
I like their squad. And yeah, so we're on the same page there. Next one.
Let's go National League Rookie of the Year.
National League Rookie of the Year.
I'm going to go with Corbin Carroll, Diamondbacks. He has a big bat. He has a borderline Cy Young Award. He's a Gold Glove winner and Silver Slugger this year. And I just don't see anybody besides maybe Jordan Walker of the Cardinals, challenging Corbin Carroll with the Diamondbacks as the runaway Rookie of the Year. I'm really excited to see him play this year.
Yeah, my lack of knowledge on this specific subject is showing. So I was going to go with Jordan Walker because he's the only one that I knew outside of that.
Let's talk about Jordan Walker for a second.
Okay.
He's 6'5", like 230. He's got absolute wheels. Huge bat, huge arm. And he wasn't projected to be with the big league team until sometime later this year. But he absolutely balled out, hit like 390 something in spring training, and broke with the team. And he got his first major league hit against Alek Manoah on a slider up the middle. That was like 102 mile per hour exit velo. Like that was his first hit. Okay, dude. And of course he's a rookie, so he's going to struggle. But it's the same kind of thing. Is that Walker is part of one of the top offenses in the league, whereas Corbin Carroll is not. So Corbin Carroll is going to shine a little bit more, kind of like how Julio Rodriguez shined a little bit more last year than some other guys who he was competing against because he was the dude. Corbin Carroll will be the dude for Diamondbacks.
Yeah, the Diamondbacks are a very average baseball team in just considering all 30 teams. Yep. The Cardinals, where Jordan Walker plays, have Nolan Arenado and the reigning NL MVP, who's absolutely started off the season just scorching. Wilson
Contreras. They also have Tyler O'Neill and international superstar Lars Nootbaar and Tommy Edman, Gold Glove winner. They have Dylan Carlson, who is still has a trajectory to be a really solid major league player, and he's the platoon outfielder right now because of Walker. It's just a tremendous lineup.
So which could go both.
They also have Brendan Donovan. Brendan Donovan is in there, and Tyler Mott, who's a 33-year-old who broke. He got a couple hits last night for the Cardinals. Like it's just an incredible lineup.
Which I think can be good for Walker, right? Because it takes the pressure off of him totally.
This is
correct. He doesn't have to carry a team. He doesn't have to
be the dude.
He doesn't have to hit 380 in his first year as a rookie and put the team on his back and all of this stuff. Like he's just going to be able to play the game of baseball, experience being at a major league level, what it's like, the speed, the day-to-day grind, all of these things.
Sure. And
then be able to utilize his talents and play more free and more loose. Now you look at Corbin Carroll, right? The Diamondbacks are a terrible baseball team. So he's the team, like you said.
A terrible baseball team. They're not the Cardinals in terms of lineup.
Well,
they might have better pitching.
I say terrible and say like there's 30 Major League Baseball teams. The Diamondbacks are in like the least, like the lower 5, probably.
Sure.
But out of every other baseball team in the whole world, they're way better than everyone else, obviously.
Yeah. And then to that point, I think the Diamondbacks, because they're so young, are going to be really good in 2 or 3 years. But they're just
I hope so, because Phoenix would love a good baseball team. It's a great place for baseball. It's a great place for a lot of sports.
Even better for basketball. It's a basketball town.
And so that's why, it could be more challenging of a rookie year for Corbin Carroll, because he's probably feeling that pressure, because he knows the history of his team, where they're at, and other players, and the things that he's expected to do.
Right.
And so hopefully the mental performance coach or the sports psychologist that works for the Diamondbacks is approaching this situation in a way that'll help him handle these expectations, handle the pressure, be able to play day by day, understand that struggles are going to come. He can't play for the other 9 guys on his team. He just has to do his job the best he possibly can, and hope that everyone else sort of does the same thing, and then build from there. And hopefully he ends up having an absolute fantastic season, because we love that when guys have fantastic seasons.
Yes, we do.
So just would make that quick note. All right, so now we got NL
manager of the year. I'm going to go with Bob Melvin. I mean, Bob Melvin is a 3-time winner. He won it once with the Diamondbacks. He's won it twice with the Athletics, and now he's the manager for a full season for the Padres, and second full season with the Padres. And last year, chemistry, but now you have Tatis back with Soto. They've added as well, and it's just a tremendous team, and I think he's going to do great things with the Padres. I think he's a runaway for the manager of the year.
He is a runaway for manager of the year, because if he's able to create team chemistry with a bunch of individual talent, then he's done his job.
Sure.
Right? As a coach right now, your team's dealing with this.
Yes.
Has a ton of talent, ton of really good athletes. But it takes more than a weekend of baseball.
Oh my gosh!
For them to understand and organize themselves in a team fashion with chemistry.
Which is why I think he's going to do so much more this year.
Right, and it takes a good leader at the front to be able to create that chemistry, to be able to create that trust. Just because Tatis and Soto and Machado and all of these people on their team are some of the best baseball players that have ever existed on the planet, it doesn't mean that they play well together. What happens is they have to create that chemistry with the coach at the front. You're trying to do that with your team. That's why it's good that we do travel tournaments and practices and have group chats and learn each other and hang out outside the baseball field. It's like, oh, this person likes the same thing I like. And now we get on the field, there's a trust, there's a camaraderie, there's an emotion behind the thing. I'm not just playing the game. I'm having an emotional aspect invested in it. And I think if Melvin can do that with his squad, then he's got everything, because obviously he has talent. Those guys can, play baseball with their freaking eyes closed.
Yes.
Like, it doesn't even fucking matter. But if they can't play together, if Machado can't trust Tatis to stay healthy, do the right things off the field, that keeps him in the lineup, then when he's in the lineup, there's like this little hesitation about it. Like, do I really want you out there? Or do I want this other guy who helped us? And I know maybe he's not good, but he's going to give me everything he has. And so you're trying to build that reputation. Now, Juan Soto just loves baseball. He always gives everything he has. So I don't think people have to worry about, I don't think Machado's worrying about that. But there's pieces moving around, and Melvin now, in his second season, first full season, can create that. Then
his second full season, right?
Second full season,
like last year.
Then yes, he wins manager of the year.
He's going to be manager of the year.
For sure, 100%. I agree with you.
Excellent.
And when you coach the Athletics and you create a winning team with the A's, you're a good manager.
I agree with you 100%. All right, let's go to let's do AL and NL Cy Young.
Okay.
I'm going to go with a dark horse in my AL. A lot of people aren't picking him. I'm going to pick Christian Javier with the Astros. He was so
excuse me.
Good God.
Cool. Didn't want to get on my mic.
Good for you.
Anyways.
So good. He has another front runner with him too, is Framber Valdez, right? So him and Framber Valdez are such good athletes, such good pitchers. Christian Javier last year was almost unhittable in the offseason, or in the postseason. And I think that he's going to capitalize that, and he's going to be unhittable this year, and he's going to win the Cy Young Award.
He was absolutely ridiculous in the playoffs.
And that's over Shohei Ohtani, and that's over Jacob deGrom, and that's over his teammate Valdez.
Yeah.
Who you got?
I'm going to go Shohei Ohtani.
Okay.
Because he's the best baseball player that we've literally ever seen.
Yeah, I agree with that. Which is why I love Verlander. What's his name? Ben Verlander. Because he now just leans into it. You'll follow him now. Every post, he even has like a jacket that has like a bunch of Shoheis on it. And I think it's so funny that people get so annoyed with him on Twitter. Like, oh, quit sucking him off, man. Hey, get on your knees, do this. Like, dude, like that's his shtick now. Like he is the guy we're going to go to see like what's going on with Shohei because he's decided to dedicate his account to the greatest player we've ever seen.
Ever. Like it's not even a close. There's not even a question mark.
Like he's just so good. He's so good.
And Ben is awesome. If
He's
you love baseball and you don't follow Ben Verlander, he's the coolest dude. And he has a really, 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 really good podcast, almost as good as this one.
Almost
covering, but it's all about Major League Baseball.
Pod, yeah.
We don't cover Major League Baseball as much, but we are today, obviously. So I'm picking Shohei Ohtani to win the AL Cy Young Award.
Cy Young, okay, great. I thought about him, but so
you just picked Christian Valdez for the AL Cy Young.
Christian Javier,
sorry.
Valdez, yeah.
Yeah, I just combined their names.
Okay. National League Cy Young is tough for me. I watched the Marlins game last night in Sandy Alcantara.
He's
who won Cy Young Award last year, and he one hit complete game shutout in an hour 50 minutes. The game was an hour 55 or 57 minutes, man.
Yeah, it's like one of the fastest games in recent memory.
Like, my God. And he's just so freaking good. But he won it last year. I'm going to go with Corbin Burns, who won it 2 years ago, had a lot of votes last year. And the Brewers going to be good this year, guys. The Brewers are already they were good last year, but they had, some chemistry issues. I think they're going to make the playoffs this year. And I think Corbin Burns is going to be a big reason why. And I think he's going to win the Cy Young Award for the National League as a result. That's my pick.
Yeah, I'm going Sandy.
Sandy Alcantara.
Yeah, I watched him pitch live in Miami last season after one of our games.
You went with him last year, too.
And yeah, I went with him last year. He's just, oh my God, dude. It's like unbelievable how good he is. And he's already starting off hot, as you just said.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going him. There's a guy on here, I'm looking at this sheet from USA Today that picked Yu Darvish to win the NL Cy Young. And
I disagree.
I disagree too, but it's so cool to see Yu Darvish still out there absolutely dealing.
You know what's crazy is that Yu Darvish, they say that during the World Baseball Classic, he did not pitch as well because he was so concerned with mentoring all the younger pitchers.
Yeah.
And learning from Shohei.
Right.
He was learning from and mentoring Shohei while mentoring other pitchers. And so he could not perform to his ability because he wasn't focused on winning. He was focused on helping others win, which just shows you what kind of human being he is.
Which is why you want him on your team, you want him in your rotation, and why he still be able to get major league hitters out at a consistent basis.
Sure.
Because that sort of mentality.
I miss him pitching for the Rangers because I was not living here when he was pitching for the
Rangers.
Rangers.
And he's better now than he used to be.
And I've never got to see him pitch live.
Yeah.
And I wish I could have. Because, I'm not a Rangers fan, but also they're the hometown team. It's a team I can see the most. Okay.
All right. So should we do MVPs?
MVPs, AL or NL?
Let's go AL. Everyone knows we're doing AL, so.
Everybody knows who we're going to pick.
Shohei Ohtani.
Unless Aaron Judge has another record-breaking season, Shohei Ohtani is going to win, just like he would have last year if Aaron Judge does not have a record-breaking season.
Shohei Ohtani is going to win.
We're both picking Shohei Ohtani.
He's going to win AL MVP, and he's going to win AL Cy Young.
He might win NL MVP and NL Cy Young just because of how good he is.
Just give him every award now.
I love it.
He should win AL MVP and AL Cy Young, unless he just doesn't perform well in each one, but I can't see that happening. Give him to him now. Let's just do it now. Let's enjoy this moment while we have it.
Just do it right now.
Because this is his third season in Major League Baseball, right?
Yeah.
Third full season in Major League Baseball. I don't know how long he can keep this absolutely magical two-way thing up.
Sure.
But MVP and Cy Young, Shohei Ohtani. Okay, who's your NL MVP?
Who's yours? Because you already know mine. Same as what it was last year, but I have more confidence this year.
Well, I think it'll be, I'm pumped the Goldschmidt's starting off hot. He's the reigning NL MVP. But I think it's either going to be Trey Turner or Juan Soto.
Okay. Elaborate.
I think Juan Soto is now in a comfortable position. He's in the team he's going to be at for a while.
Sure.
And I think he knows his team better. He's not coming there in the middle of the season. And he's a dude. And I think he's going to have a heck of a year. And I think Trey Turner is now the guy, right? He's always played for a Dodgers team where he wasn't maybe the guy.
Sure.
Or people didn't see him as that. And I think now in the Phillies, they're expecting him to be that way outside of they already have a bunch of really good dudes in Schwarber and Castellanos and Realmuto and Harper and all these people. He just adds another piece of that puzzle, but is expected to elevate that team. And So I see Trey Turner having another good year. I mean, he's a former batting champion, right? He can play the game of baseball. And I also throw Arenado and Goldschmidt in that mix. It's sort of
they're always in that mix.
My top 4 candidates.
They're always in that mix.
And when Harper gets healthy, he's going to be in that mix.
I'm not doing a mix, man. I'm going.
But I'm going to pick Trey Turner.
Okay, Trey Turner. I love Trey Turner, man. Trey Turner is so much fun to watch.
And you're picking Nolan?
I'm picking Nolan Arenado, 3rd place last year. You know, he's 1 home run away from 300.
That's amazing.
Yeah. He's never not won a Gold Glove for as long as he's played the game.
He's sick.
He is quite possibly already the best third baseman to ever play the game defensively. And he's not done. He still has 3, 4, 5 years left at that level. And he's going to end up with like 16, 17 Gold Gloves.
Yep.
Probably. And a bunch of Platinum Gloves.
Just so many.
No, I didn't know this, but the Cardinals won the Gold Glove award as an organization, as the best defensive team. And
they had like 7 of 9 Gold Gloves
man, they're
last
so
year.
Good. They're so good. So yeah, I think it's Nolan Arenado. Cool. All right, let's go with your AL.
Give me your predictions.
Playoff picks.
Do you want to just go through AL first?
Yeah. What are you? Do you want to go through yours?
Yeah, I got American League East. I think it's the Yankees.
Okay.
I think it's the Yankees. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there was 4 baseball teams from the American League East that made the playoffs.
Okay.
In the Yankees, Blue Jays, Rays, and Orioles. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not saying it's going to happen.
I don't think that's happening.
But I wouldn't be shocked because the Blue Jays are a good baseball team.
The AL is too stacked to have the Orioles and the Tampa Bay Rays sneak in.
But I have the Yankees winning that division.
Cool. Okay. I'm going Blue Jays. They have an absolute stacked rotation. They have an absolute stacked lineup. They are so freaking good. And I think the lack of experience is going to hurt them in the playoffs, but I think they're going to win the AL East.
I think they're going to get there.
Who you got in the Central?
Central, I got the Guardians.
Guardians. I do too. I think that the White Sox have the top talent in the division. The Guardians have the best team. They have such great pitchers in both the rotation and the line in the bullpen, and the lineup's not bad at all.
But I wouldn't be surprised
And they have one of the best managers in the game.
If the Twins were in the mix at the end.
I think they'd be in the mix,
but I don't think they're going to get a wild card spot though either.
Yeah.
They have to win that division if they want it.
Sure.
I think that division specifically, the Central, is you have to win the division or you're not making the playoffs.
Okay.
Because I think the other 2 secondary teams.
Yeah, my wild card teams have no Central in there.
So, and then in American League West, you just can't. You can't.
Guys,
you can't not have
it's
the
the
Astros.
Astros. Yeah, there's until
I just don't get
Astros.
it.
But it's also, in my opinion, the strongest division in baseball.
Yes, because the Mariners are really good. You think it's stronger than the East?
In the AL East, yes.
Yeah, you think so?
I'm talking about the league, by the way, but yes, I do believe that they're stronger than the East.
Well, the Mariners could be a playoff team.
The Mariners are a playoff team.
Angels have 2 of the best players in the whole entire
so
universe.
Never count them out. They have no pitching. The Rangers are a perennial potential playoff team right now as well. It's the A's that suck.
You just never know about the A's.
Never know about them, yeah. Never know.
Okay, so I got Astros, you got Astros. Okay, cool.
Right,
so
we
the 3
have
wild card teams.
So we have the Blue. So you have Yankees, Guardians, Astros. I have Blue Jays, Guardians, Astros. My 3 wild card teams are the Mariners, Yankees, and Rangers. I think that again, the Mariners. I just explained why the Mariners and Rangers, and also the Yankees. I think are a front runner to win the World Series. I just don't think they're going to win their division.
Yep.
So those are my wild card teams. You got?
I have Blue Jays. It's tough.
Not that tough.
I think Rays, Orioles are good, but I also know Mariners and Rangers. So I'm going to go Blue Jays, Mariners, and Rangers.
So we have the exact same playoff. The only difference is I have the Blue Jays winning their division.
Yeah.
You have the Yankees winning their division.
But I really want to see the Orioles compete.
Oh, sure. I just don't think they're going to be good enough.
And I don't think they're going to make it, and I don't think the Tampa Bay Rays will be able to make it in.
Sure. I watched the Rays game. It was I think 8-7 Nationals going into the top of the 9th. I turned the game on to see what the Rays could do. They hit 3 home runs and scored 5 runs off Kyle Finnegan. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And so then they won 12-8. I'm glad I turned this game on. This is awesome.
And then I think about the Central, like Guardians are going to probably win it, but Twins and White Sox.
White Sox have a ton of talent. They just can't stay healthy.
And they gave away Jose Abreu, so it's whatever.
Yes.
He's on the freaking Astros, and you guys are not giving it.
How did the Astros get better?
They got a guy who all he does is hit RBIs. That's it.
That's all he does. So
like,
100
what does Jose Abreu do? Oh, he hits 100 RBIs a year.
Yeah. They replaced Yuli,
who's a 240 hitter,
with Abreu, and they replaced Verlander, who is hurt right now with just more depth. Now that gives Javier and Valdez and a lot of those guys just more opportunity.
Yeah. And I mean, don't be surprised if Kyle Tucker is in the AL MVP race.
Oh, yeah.
And Yordan Alvarez. Don't be surprised
Yordan
about those
Alvarez
two
is a
guys.
dude.
And we want to see what Pena is able to do now that he had this absolutely fantastic playoff run.
Yep. Love me some
What
Pena.
can he do with a full season of baseball?
Yep. Absolutely. Love Pena.
So if you're not, I mean, you just can't bet against the Astros right now. So it's tough.
All right.
So National League.
National League. All right. I'm going to go. You want me to just run down mine?
What do you got in the East?
I got National League East. I have the Braves. Same reason I have the Blue Jays. Just once Strider comes back, especially, they're so freaking good. They're so freaking good.
Yep.
Hitting wise.
Yep.
And they're locked in. They're not going anywhere for years. Just like the Astros, this team's not going anywhere for years. And the rotation's stacked. Their bullpen is stacked. They're such a good team. I don't see anybody. You have the Mets who overspent, but their entire rotation is hurt. You have the Phillies who are
good.
They're good, but they have their little they have the World Series hangover. It's a thing, right?
Yep.
They're not rested. They're not relaxed. They have injuries as well.
Mm-hmm.
They've Hoskins is out. Harper is out.
Yeah, Hoskins tore his ACL, I think.
Yeah, so that hurts the Phillies, and so I think the Braves are the runaway for the NL East.
Yeah, I'm Braves all the way. Not a Mets guy. Don't think they're going to make the playoffs. Don't think they're even going to contend.
Just kind of funny, by the way, to me.
What?
That they've spent all that money and they're not going to make it.
No. Phillies got a little, like it's challenging for the Phillies. They still have two guys at the top of their rotation who are unbelievable in Nola and Wheeler. They
Sure.
got better in depth in terms of Trey Turner, but they still have Hoskins out, who's a big bat. And when Harper returns, I think they're in full steam.
Sure.
But they do
People
have
make playoffs.
They do have the World Series hangover, which is tough. And they lost in that World Series. And they weren't really expected to even make it that far.
No, gosh, no.
So that just sort of...
They weren't expected to beat the Cardinals in the wild card.
So that just creates a different sort of vibe
They
in your
get
next
better.
season. Like, can they keep that sort of chip on their
That's
shoulder
the problem.
mentality?
Is they went to the World Series and they got better. But they weren't expected to get past the wild card last year.
Right.
So they got better from a team that was expected to get past the wild card, and that's it.
So now if
They're not expected to go to the World Series.
Right. So...
They're not expected to win their division,
Right.
nor were they last year.
So
but they got better.
It's interesting to see where they might place based on the actual expectations
Yes.
of their squad.
Yes.
But I have the Braves winning that division because they're the best team.
Yes.
Central, we both know who we're going to pick. Cardinals for both of us, 100%. But the Brewers are a good baseball team. Brewers are a good baseball team.
Yeah, I'm going to go Cardinals. They are borderline the best lineup in baseball, but their rotation is absolute garbage right now. Let's check the score right now against the Braves because they're playing the Braves right now. Last time I checked, it was 4-0. It still is 5-0 now. Matt Allison with a double down the line. Acuna scores. So, the Cardinals offense will score a lot. The problem is that as it stands, this Cardinals pitching staff will give up a lot. So I still believe they're going to win the division, but it's very disappointing so far to see how this is playing out.
Because the Brewers can pitch.
Brewers can really pitch, and they're scoring like 10 runs a game lately.
Well, a lot of people are right now.
Yeah, that's fair.
Runs are a lot up, averages
Cardinals
up, steals are up.
Shit.
Game clock is down. Anyway, so we'll see how that goes. I think I only predict one team from the Central making it to the playoffs. Cubs, Pirates, and Reds just aren't very good.
Are you talking about one team from them to make wild card?
Yeah, like there won't be a wild card team from there.
Yeah.
And then for the West, who do you got?
I'm going to go Padres. The reason being is they are so strong, and the Dodgers lost a lot. The Dodgers lost Turner. They lost Gavin Lux, not to any fault of their own. They lost a lot of really solid players and didn't do a ton on the free agency market because they're waiting to see what's going to happen with Ohtani.
Mm-hmm.
So they're basically taking the year off. They're still extremely talented. And they'll still make the playoffs. They're just not going to win their division.
Right.
Because they're not really trying to either. They're not trying to keep up with the Joneses with San Diego. San Diego basically has this division unlocked, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, the Dodgers won 110 games last year. They're not going to repeat that.
Sure.
They've been a World Series contender every year for the last 5 years, and really have only captured that title once in a kind of an iffy fashion. So they just haven't lived up to the hype for the last few years. The Padres haven't either, but I do predict the Padres to win that division this year. And you can't ever count the Giants out. You never know. They're a baseball team.
They are a baseball team, but
they just figure it out in ways where you don't see them figuring it out.
Webb is so good, man.
They know how to win. Like the Padres don't know how to win. They don't know how to shut
Bob
the door.
Melvin knows how to win.
But Bob Melvin does.
Yes.
So it has to bleed that way. Dodgers continue to lose the big game in the playoffs, even though they have good teams every year. They're not as good as they have been. So we'll see about that. But I think the Padres, win that division.
Sure.
And then we have 3 wild card teams.
All right, my wild card teams are the Brewers, the Dodgers, and the Phillies. Brewers, again, we just talked about great pitching. Dodgers won 110 games last year. They're not going to do that again this year. Padres will win, but they're still going to win 100 games, I think. 90 to 100. And the Phillies are going to figure it out. They're such a good team. They're going to make playoffs.
Yeah, Phillies for me, for sure. Then the Dodgers, and then I'm going to go with the Giants.
Over the Brewers?
Over the Brewers.
Okay. It's because you're a Giants fan.
I am a Giants
fan. The only
fan.
team that we disagree on this entire thing is I have the Brewers and you have the Giants.
Yep.
Otherwise, we have the exact same playoffs. Aaron has... I'm saving this for when we do our episode later this year.
Great.
Aaron has Yankees. You can continue talking.
We can hear you. That's good. Keep going.
Yeah, okay.
This is a little behind the scenes peek. Coach Bodzin's writing it down on his computer. If you're watching via YouTube, you can see that. If you're just listening, because we keep track of all this stuff so we can hold each other accountable at the end of the year when playoffs do happen. Because on this podcast, we do some very special postseason editions of this podcast. We've done it for the past 2 seasons, and people seem to really like them. They're one of our most popular episodes just because we try to do as many as we can. We just throw out some random episodes at random times just to talk about what we see in the playoffs. And so, so that's that. That'll happen in October. This is the beginning of the year, April 5th. We're recording this. It'll come out on Saturday. So if you watch it and you listen and you want to make your own predictions, post them on the internet, tag us, email us, tweet us, drop them in the comments, whatever, just so we can check and hold each other accountable maybe for the end of the year.
Yeah, please.
Appreciate it. Thanks for listening. Coach Bodzin, you have anything else? Closing thoughts? Remarks,
we could talk about our teams, but I think this is our special episode, so we're not going to do that. I'm excited to have gotten this out of the way. We've been meaning to do this for 2 weeks, but of course life gets busy. We haven't had the opportunity to, but so to wrap up, we're very similar in who we think is going to do what.
Mm-hmm.
And if we're wrong, you know what we're going to do? We're going to adjust. You know why?
Because champions adjust.
That's right.
Happy Easter. Happy Passover to those who celebrate. Lots of love. Grateful for your family. Spread love. Grateful love.
For all of you.
And be a little more kinder than you think you need to be to yourself and to others. And we'll see you next time.
Absolutely.
All right? Cheers.
Cheers.